You feel this nervousness on the phone there?
Sir, I've been trying to make an urgent phone call up there.
Well, I don't think it's something I want to do on an overseas phone.
You gotta make some phone calls. Hang up the phone. Prank caller. Prank caller.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to Packernet After Dark. This is the call-in show with the Packernet Podcast Network. If you'd like to call in, if you'd like to participate in the show, please feel free to do so. The phone number here is 608-501-0718. New callers go to the front of the line. I don't think, let me check. I gotta scroll for a ways here. I don't see anything. So why don't we, scrolling back to the bottom, get to Steve in Alaska?
Hey, Ryan, Steve again. I'm calling back to make this real quick and short, but what I'm hearing already is that, you know, everybody talks about how great the team was. Everybody talks how much this team was going to do all this and all that and the other. I think there's a potential problem that we might have. We have the youngest team in the league. We have to make sure that our team is mature enough to handle being on top. I'm not saying that's an excuse for this game or the game before or what's going to come, but I believe you're right. I thought this bye week was way too freaking early, but I think this is going to be huge for us, for the coaching staff, to get these guys to understand where they are and what's going on, because, again, we got a little kids team and a little kids, not to say that, you know, we're a bunch of kids, but there's the youngest team, and they're going to make young men mistakes. And some of that's arrogance. And the media is going to talk them up like crazy, which they did. And if we start winning again, they're going to talk them up like crazy. We got to see if they can overcome the media talk. I think that's going to be a big problem, because these guys listen to that stuff. Because, you know, we listen to it, you do it. But either way, man, let's move on. We'll talk to you later.
Yeah, I mean, I generally obviously hate that excuse, because most of the guys that are young have been playing for, 3, 4, 5, 6 years plus. It's just that we don't have, we got a bunch of those guys, and we don't have like any outside of maybe McManus, like 30-plus-year-old guys. However, I think specifically to the point that you're talking about, I think that that's entirely possible. I think there's a benefit to having a Rodgers or a Bakhtiari or a Devontae or whatever to kind of help provide a little bit of perspective for guys that have been there. And by there, I mean like everywhere. They've been at the top, they've been at the bottom, they've been in the playoff games, they've been in the hunt, they've been, there's certain things that you develop over not just playing 2-3 years, but playing like a decade. So there might be a little bit of figuring that out. And I know a bunch of people send it to me. I didn't listen to the whole thing. But there's a video that a lot of people seem to like from Colin Cowherd, but he had made the comment that the Packers head coach, Matt LaFleur, something like he's not a coach, he's a chaperone, because, they're all a bunch of kids. There is an element of that from Matt LaFleur's standpoint, too, which is, the coaching side, the outside of the X's and O's, getting people in the right headspace and understanding things and whatnot. So, I don't know. I don't know what happened or why it happened, but it's certainly not impossible that not being able to control I think it's important to be steady. And you did hear some young guy comments, some Rasheed Walker, I think we can go undefeated stuff, which again, I don't super care as much about that. Keyshawn Nixon is now doing that. I saw he went and posted a bunch of wide receivers with like X's, like crossing them out, like I took them out kind of thing. I don't mind a little swagger, a little arrogance, but I think it's possible that can maybe go to your head a little bit. To the point where you don't recognize that this is still the NFL and dudes can really punch you in the mouth. And so really just sticking to your fundamentals and sticking to your craft and not just thinking I can do whatever and fly around and everything's going to be just fine. And when things don't go well, am I just going to give up? Which I think we're starting to see from the defense, which is frustrating, right? That whole flying to the ball and guys coming in tackling, all of a sudden you're seeing guys standing around more. What are you doing? What happened to that fire and that passion? Stuff they got to work on, stuff they got to figure out. And for the coaching staff and the GM and whatnot, from the coaching staff, you try to get them in that right headspace. From the GM standpoint, you're either going to get in line or we're going to replace you. You can't be somebody who's only good when he feels like it and when things are great, and then otherwise, just not feeling it, then I'm just not going to show up.
Hey, Ryan, Denver from California.
Hey.
Just listening to your podcast and ending up seeing that the whole game, you're having a similar reaction to me and having just a distaste for just this game flow, the penalties, and all of it. And it just, I don't know, this game, it just felt like one of those old games. It's a typical Matt LaFleur team where it's just, they didn't show up, and this time it was against a bad team, so they were able to hang in there the entire time. But I don't get it why this team just doesn't show up. Like the first 2 weeks.
Well, again, that's another one that I don't super like, right? Because they don't show up when they don't show up. It's not that they always don't. What happened to week 1 and 2? And then again, when it comes to other games, there isn't a single team you can't point to and say they didn't show up in this instance. So I don't want to completely discredit it, but there has to be some acknowledgement that the NFL, by and large, has ebbs and flows where things are good and then things are bad. Shocking losses are not a Matt LaFleur thing. It's not even a Packers thing. We saw that all the time under Mike McCarthy also. So then it kind of becomes a question of like the degree of, which is very difficult to do. I went through that whole thing before. I wasn't able to prove that Matt LaFleur had a team that was more regularly not showing up. Like, just for example, if I tried to think of a way to just quickly come up with like a single stat to determine whether somebody shows up or not, you could look at, for example, against the spread. Because the spread is Vegas saying this is what we think you're going to be able to do based on how good you are and how good they are. The Packers since 2018 are 55% against the spread. That is one of the highest in the NFL. Steelers are 56%, Bengals are 56%, Ravens are 56%, Bills are 55.7%, basically the same, and the Lions are 59%. Those are the only ones that are higher than what the Packers have since 2018, since Matt LaFleur. So they're, I don't know, 5th or 6th highest ranked team in terms of exceeding expectations for a game. And by the way, they come into games generally being expected to win. Their average line is minus 2.8. So he's kind of got an unfair disadvantage in that you're expected to win every game by 3, and he exceeds expectations more often than not. So if you wanted to look at like the worst teams for not showing up, the Falcons, 40%, the Browns, 43%, Titans, 45%, Jaguars, 45%, Panthers, 42%. Again, you can say, well, they're bad teams, right? But they come into the game with low expectations, and then they don't reach those low expectations. So again, that frustration of, man, why does this keep happening? My answer, honestly, until somebody can prove or show me something that demonstrates that they more often do this than other teams, my answer to why this keeps happening is because it's the NFL and it happens to everybody all the time.
It reminded me so much of one of the best Packers defensive performances I've seen, which would be, I think it's 2021 49ers Packers game, where it's just they're flying around and they hold the I think they hold that offense to 3 points, and then it's a block field or a block punt leads to a touchdown for those guys. But it's just like I just feel like the first 2 weeks, like they have all this energy, and then it just goes flat. Every play on defense, they were flying around, and there were maybe 9 guys around the ball on each tackle. It's just they're not flying around anymore, and that's literally good defense. That's the difference. Like people want to talk about scheme. Everybody runs cover 3. Everybody runs cover 2. It's literally like how aggressive do you play? Are you flowing to the ball? And it just seems like Andrew Cooper. Everybody knows that I'm the biggest Andrew Cooper fan. There was a play where he just ran into the backfield. The ball was like 20 yards to the right, and he's flying in on the left. Like, what are you doing? Like, I don't understand what happened in 2 weeks, but it is what it is. They got to buy. Let's clean this stuff up. But the thing that really made me realize, my daughter was in bed and she woke up and came downstairs and started watching the game with me. I don't know if it was overtime yet or still the fourth quarter, but she just sees this bomb to I don't know which guy it was on the right side of the field against Nixon, and even she just was watching it. She's 3 years old. She's just screw this weak cover three, and just got up and went to bed. She doesn't even know football. She's like, this is horrible. This is horrible cover three. And it's just bad. So she just went to bed. It's just I don't know, man. They gotta clean it up. They gotta play more aggressive. Everybody runs cover two. Everybody runs cover three. They're supposed to be the best at disguises, and they're supposed to be aggressive. That's all I care. If they do disguises and aggression, and that should be enough, and they're not doing it. They're just thinking.
Losing.
Maybe you got
3 minutes, I think, got you too, but I can't really tell. Yeah, I don't have the answer as to what exactly is wrong. I think everybody kind of has their theories. I have a couple theories, but, again, it is incumbent on the coaches to figure it out and get it fixed. These things happen consistently to teams. The question is, what is it going to look like by the end of the year? Because right now, the last 2 weeks, Matt LaFleur did not meet expectations. So he's at, 50% for the season? Exceeded expectations the first 2 weeks and fell short the last 2 weeks. History would say that he's going to exceed more often than not by a massive margin, but it shouldn't be that bad most of the time. But like we've been talking about, things are always ever evolving. And, I can point to what Matt LaFleur has done in the past as somewhat of a defense, but that has nothing to do with the future. If we see more of weeks 1 and 2 after the bye, great. If we don't, then yeah, we got to have conversations that I, don't really want to have, but what choice do you have? Like I said, supremely talented roster. All right, we got a couple calls from Goose, so we'll take a break here. We'll come back and hear from Goose.
Hey, Ryan. Goose here.
Yo.
I'm going to make a bit of an S sandwich here. So I'm going to start off with something good about the game last night. Jordan Love, that dude is amazing.
Yeah.
And anyone that's criticizing him really should rethink it. He did so much to keep us in that game. I really am impressed with him. Just really great. Even with our shoddy offensive line, he was able to stick in there, and he got us through that game. He is a leader and a warrior. Really couldn't be happier with him. Now the bad. Let's start with Matt LaFleur. People saying he wasn't aggressive enough. He was too aggressive. When things were going bad at the half there, we should have just run the clock out and called it good and said, we'll survive the play in the second half.
That one I can get behind, right? As far as the aggressive or not, I just, some of them are kind of iffy for me. At the very least, it's like a 45-55 issue. It's not a definitive thing. That was absolutely, I was sitting there going, what are we doing? Stop. You have to stop.
Instead, we end up with the ball stripped and giving them another 7 points.
Right.
Special teams, it's more like special ed. Another blocked field goal. This one basically cost us from winning. Didn't make us lose, but it cost us from winning because we were chasing 3 points that was on that swing all night. And then the big one, and then one I'm sure everyone's going to be talking about, the defense. What the heck was that? Not only was it bad, not only was it like we couldn't cover anything and couldn't get pressure and couldn't stop the run, the trifecta. It looked like the players just didn't want to be there.
Yeah.
It looked like they just didn't care. It looked like they were on vacation already for their bye week. Man, I wouldn't give them a bye week. I'd be like, you guys are going to be in here hitting the books the entire time, because what was that bull crap?
Right.
I'm doing my best not to swear here because
Appreciate
holy crap.
that.
I'm coming up on the 3-minute monster, so I'm just going to quickly end it with some more good. Romeo Dobbs just showed up.
Heck yeah.
And was clutch, and that man needs to stay on this team. Josh Jacob is a beast, and I loved seeing Williams running the ball as well. They need to do some more of that as our 1-2 combo punch.
Part 2 for Goose.
Hi, Ryan. Goose again. Just ran out of time on the last message. The last thing I wanted to go over that wasn't so team-related, and I will preface this with the refs didn't lose us that game or make it a tie, but they sure as heck didn't help. There was some very clear favoritism towards the Cowboys. There were some very terrible calls, and it's so frustrating in a game that's that close to watch that, and it feels, I'm not saying this is what it is, but it feels like when you're watching that, like they are literally trying to keep that game as tight as possible for the ratings or whatever reason. It could just be an internal bias. Who knows? But, like, the call for that moving the football was just terrible, and it couldn't be at a worse time. Probably did some damage. The missed PI call was horrendous. That really did swing how that game ended.
It was bad.
And then you had that hands to the face call that was so ticky-tack. It was terrible. But more than that, I can't help but feel like a good portion of why our pass rush was neutralized, besides our defense being listless and looking like they'd rather be anywhere else on earth, was the amount of holding. Like, it was disgusting.
Yep.
I know there's that whole thing where if they go low and try to go around the outside of the tackle can kind of have their arm around them. But I watched so much of the just blatant grabbing of the back plates and defenders trying to run away from the tackle, and they literally couldn't go anywhere because the tackle's got their hand in their pads and is holding them and not letting them go anywhere. And it's just like, they didn't call it. They never called it. They had their hands up in Micah Parsons' face constantly.
Yep.
No call. The ref's just like, I can't see that, I got my full plastic glasses on, like, I'm just blind. Someone get me my walking stick. I can't see that. And I'm so sick of the NFL officiating being that bad.
Yeah, it is bad.
And I also want to point out, once again, we got the best shot from the Cowboys. The receivers were making catches that they didn't make in other games.
Right.
They played out of their minds. Dak played out of his mind. He got bailed out, in my opinion, but he played out of his mind. The receivers caught things that they never caught. What is this?
I think that's a pretty good summary. That is the trifecta there. You got the Packers defense, at least, playing like they just thought this was going to be easy and then got frustrated when it wasn't and just didn't feel like putting in the effort. They just can't handle it on the road. I mean, we had 2 home games we dominated. We had 2 road games and we just couldn't do it. So, again, I'll just go back to my theory that the young guys are just a bunch of party animals and go out and get hammered the night before the game or something. Because, I mean, you can't talk to me about jet lag. Give me a freaking break. It's half joking, but, it's as good a theory as any as to why there's such a massive difference. But yeah, and then you got the referees, which, it's not to blame them for the loss or anything, but it's just a question of even acknowledging that a lot of these are going to go against us if the NFL gets cleaned up, because we get our share of calls either for or against that help us. It's just the product is so bad. I understand that there are some calls that are just tough to make. You know, the ref, especially deeper down the field, they're not in the right spot, and whether or not they got their toes inbound or whatever, but that's when we have replay to check all those, and they get it right, and everything's fine. But some of this stuff where there's a ref right behind the line of scrimmage, and there are 3 guys being held, and you're not seeing... Are you just watching the game? Like, you're just watching the quarterback? You're so worried about the quarterback getting hit, you're just staring at him, or... You're just kind of looking downfield because you're like, dude, I got a good seat for this freaking game, and you're just, what are you looking at? Or is it just like, you know, I mean, if I call that, I got to call every single time. Like, no, you call it, and then they're going to stop doing it so much. I don't know. But, it's, I don't know how to fix it other than I don't know if the people that are in charge of it just don't care, and so they're not trying to push or what. I don't know what happens in those meetings, but I mean, I feel like if I were in charge of it, every week we would just sit down with a group of officials and go, what are you doing, dude? You're freaking embarrassing me. Like, this is stupid. Open your freaking eyes and look. And what is this call? Don't do that. You're calling things that you have no business calling because it's like you're bored when you could be calling things that should be called all the time and just don't. Again, I'm not expecting perfection. You're human beings. You can't look at everything all the time, but there are some things that are so blatantly stupid. I don't know what you're doing or how to even begin to defend it.
Hey, Ryan.
Hi.
Mowing some grass, just like the rest of the damn Green Bay Packers will be doing, and they don't figure it out. They have landscaping jobs, cutting frickin' grass, or golf course jobs like me. What the hell, man? I am still just befuddled. Again, glad we...
Huh?
This could come down to a point where this tie determines if we make or miss the playoffs or not. I am just not sure at the end of the game there of what we were doing with clock management. I mean, it just seems like they had no urgency. Why not just go win the game? Like, get a playoff. Like, go. Also, the refs definitely should have called the pass interference or whatever on Wicks there. Not on him, but, like, you know, against Cowboys or whatever. Totally pushed him down, like, before he even got the ball, and that was insane. And like, think about how, like, if they call that, you know, we have more time, and we're able to just kind of get down there and probably score, man. I think the whole thing about Matt LaFleur being conservative, I think it's not quite true, but it is. I think it's more so he's conservative at the wrong time. I think he is just not timing this out of how he should do it. I really don't know if anything's going to change, man. I'm really starting to think as long as Matt LaFleur is our coach, we'll always get in our own way, man, and we won't be able to win a Super Bowl, man. I just don't think he can do it, man. I really don't. But we'll see. We really need... I don't know what we're going to do here with this offensive line. It's just got to be different. Everything's got to be different. LaFleur has got to start scheming these guys, man. Or, I guess, trusting Love. It seems like he just doesn't trust Love to do anything, really. And so, we'll see. I wish I had more coherent thought. I'm just so pissed off. I can't really string together things right now. I'm sure everybody else will call in, see what's going on. Yeah, come on, Packers. Figure it out or you'll be cutting grass. Matt LaFleur, you're going to have a grass cutting job if you don't figure this out, man. You might as well have a grass cutting job if you don't freaking win a Super Bowl.
Well, again, it's hard to engage with the point. Either of those two things without something a little bit more concrete. I mean, sometimes I can kind of just go off of like, yeah, I'm having the same feelings as you are. I just, again, I that's your gut feeling, then I guess that's as good as any. I think part of the issue with again, it's because we didn't lose, we tied, but whatever. It's because we didn't win, and we haven't won since week 2, that there's a lot of frustration. But yeah, I think one of the things that a lot of fans will do is when something happens and it's good, we just go, yay. And then when something happens and it's bad, we write that down in our book of why this person should be fired. And then when several weeks go by, we look at our book and we're like, look at all these bad things that he's done. When at the same time, we were not writing down all the good things. How many fourth downs did we go for it and convert it? How many, third down calls did we convert? How many times did we go for a touchdown on fourth down and convert it? That is not being included in this. And so we have a mental checklist of like, oh, we keep doing this. I mean, you'd have, again, I can't take any of it seriously until I can look at not only what has Matt LaFleur done, but what has Matt LaFleur done compared to the rest of the coaches in the NFL. Because if we fire Matt LaFleur and hire somebody else without any understanding of what the baseline average is and where Matt's at, we can't expect things to get better. Right? If he's a top 5 coach in this, but we assume that, like let's say it's 55%, we expect it to be like 80%, not realizing that that's a completely unattainable thing that we're never going to be able to hire a coach to do, then we're not having a serious conversation. And the thing that I've never understood is the whole not trusting Jordan thing. I don't know what we're even talking about with that. I'm guessing it's because the game was dink and dunk, but that's exactly what was dictated to. And again, if you go back and watch it, the guy he throws to, and I've said this a billion times, the guy he throws to is not his only option. Matt LaFleur does not call in and say, just throw a check down. That has never been a thing Matt LaFleur has ever said. The check down is an option given to him in a list of options, and it's never the primary option. So if Jordan Love does it, it's 100% his decision to do it. He also has one of the deepest yards per attempt. Jordan Love, we came into this saying that Jordan Love has been slinging it down the field. His yards per attempt is the highest of just about anybody in the NFL. So, I mean, if you use that as a metric, Jordan Love is trusted more than just about anybody else in the NFL to sling the ball down the field all the time, never stopping. So I don't understand this whole thing that has been a narrative since day one that Matt LaFleur doesn't trust Jordan Love. I never understood it. I never had anybody articulate or explain it to me in a way that made any sense. What are you seeing? What are you looking at? And what do you want to be seeing and looking at? I know it's easier said than done, but again, I mean, if you're going to call in or make a statement or something on social media or whatever, I don't know what to do with it, just kind of hanging out there. So right now it's kind of my vibes are a little bit different than your vibes. You know what I mean? I'm not feeling what you're feeling, but you might be right. I don't know. I feel like I've seen in the past. I've tried to find it. I know there was a website. This was several years ago. Maybe it doesn't exist anymore. I don't know. I tried to look it up. But there was a website that would like grade coaches on, and a lot of it was like decision making, how often you went for it when you were supposed to and didn't when you don't or whatever. And I thought Matt LaFleur was not super high in that. So I was trying to find that to at least try to back you up a little bit, but I cannot find it. So I don't know. But I don't have anything to go off of to either confirm or deny what you're saying. All right, let's take our final break. We'll come back. We got Kyle and Madison.
Hey, one more thing. I'm wondering, that was a hell of a game that I thought Jordan Love played and several guys on that team. And I just felt like, hey, we're going to see a walk-off touchdown at the end. And I can't help but wonder, I mean, like I just said, I put the play selection on LaFleur. But I'm trying to understand, is LaFleur buttoning up that offense because he's afraid that Love's going to make a mistake? Or what the hell are we doing? Because I just can't make sense of that, Ryan. Your team is going through them like a hot knife through butter, okay? And you all of a sudden just get super conservative. And yes, I can already hear you saying, well, we don't know what the play was. We don't know if Jordan changed it. Man, I can't believe, if you just look at like what Jordan looked like, they were trying to draw one up in the dirt there and get it off right before the end of the game there. If that's indicative of his mindset, I think we know what he wanted to do. You know what I mean? I guess it's possible. But the reason I bring this up, other than it being incredibly frustrating for Love and those guys and Dobbs to be having that kind of career game, and not be able to finish it with a win. But if it is the case that LaFleur was the one keeping that team out of the end zone kind of, then that might be indicative of a bigger issue. And I'm a LaFleur guy, but it couldn't have been more obvious that offense was freaking cooking. It was cooking, dude. That's the offense we are waiting for. That's the one where, and that's what gives me the most hope. Because I see that offense cook. I don't care who it's against. When they're cooking at that kind of level, that's where you can go, okay, now if this defense gets their feet underneath them how we think they should, this could be a Super Bowl team. But what the hell went on there? Why weren't we allowed to finish that game off? And it just felt like it certainly wasn't the Cowboys stopping us. It was the clock and ourselves. And I'm wondering why. Because I don't know. It just felt like LaFleur wouldn't take the training wheels off. And it's like, dude, we're shredding them. Let them I don't care who their kicker is. What, are we going to be afraid of Brandon Aubrey getting the ball back with 11 seconds left? Give me a freaking break. Go win the damn game. I don't know, man. I don't know what your thoughts are on that. I've only seen it live. I haven't watched it again, but I just can't shake that question because it's such a big question depending on what the answer is. All right, peace.
Well, I think you're kind of hitting it on the end there in terms of we really got to go back and watch. Because even now, I'm sure in the moment, when it happens so fast, you start to immediately, even as you're watching it, but we all are kind of not fully understanding what's going on, emotional, this, that, or the other. But then I know for me, I'm sure for all of us, but especially for me, I rapidly start forgetting and misremembering. Here's what I will say. I am going to go back and watch that final because that seems to be on the mind of everybody, and I need to at least remember that final series. What I will say, first of all, again, it's possible Matt LaFleur got conservative or something. I don't know. That's never been a thing. It hasn't been a thing all year. It wasn't a thing really in this game in terms of being conservative. Is it possible that Matt LaFleur just got scared and said, let's just run screen passes all the way down the field? I have no reason whatsoever to believe that. The other thing to keep in mind is 2-minute offense is largely run by the quarterback, not the play caller, because there isn't enough time for Matt LaFleur to go through his sheet, pick a play, call it in, and then for him to ramble off that whole play. There isn't time for that. We're in no huddle. So he's running to the line, calling out one-word plays. Now, it might be Matt LaFleur calling in that one-word play because there's a preset of, here's our whatever plays. But the closer you get to we got to run to the line, the less the coach is involved at all. So those final few plays where they're scrambling to get down the field, for example, that last final play, I can almost guarantee that was just Jordan Love. I don't know when that switch would have happened, but it would have been a thing. So first of all, they're all 2-minute plays. They're all designed to be in this 2-minute offense type of a thing. There is no play call outside of a 2-minute type of play that is being called because, again, they just don't have time to get those plays in. So there's only 2-minute drill plays that are being run in that situation, and for probably a good portion of it, it's largely Jordan Love controlling the offense, calling the plays he wants to call, lining people up where they want to line up, and then making a decision on who to throw to. Now, again, the specifics on that in terms of who's calling plays, what plays were called, and what decisions were made and why, I just don't fully remember how that all went. I know a lot of the time management, although Matt LaFleur has taken the blame for it, a lot of that does come down to the players. And I know a lot of people are upset about that screen pass to Golden or whatever that was. I barely remember what that even was. But again, I think the assumption, which goes to preconceived assumptions, is Matt LaFleur is being conservative. Which even that doesn't make how is that conservative? That's the most high-risk play you could ever make. It's like a handoff with 10 seconds left. That's not conservative. It's high risk and just stupid for the sake of stupid. There's nothing conservative about that. So I already had a plan for tomorrow, which I probably will still do, but it's maybe not something that needs to take the whole time anyway. So maybe we'll start off with just a review of that final drive, just to kind of remember some stuff and kind of get a fresher perspective on what exactly happened and should have happened. Because I know for me, and it's different for everybody, I didn't want them to fly down the field. Because our defense can't stop anyone. If you go down and score, they're going to end with the ball in their hand, and that's not what you want. There's a good chance that you're going to end up in a field goal. You give them the ball, they're either going to tie or score. We need... This is part of good time management, is making sure that you score with 0 seconds left on the clock. That is a part of it. Despite the idea of, screw it, let's just go down, score as fast as we possibly can, and then who cares if they get the ball back? No, that's not how you run 2 minute. You have control of the ball, you score, and make sure you end with the ball in your hand. So they did need to burn some clock. They burned too much. So, again, that disconnect is part of where, there was a switch for me where it went from, okay, good, burn some clock, nice and easy, to like, all right, go, go, go. You know what I mean? But it's subtle because we're talking maybe 2 to 3 plays where it's like you have to hurry, whereas the rest of it is, it's fine. And again, we ended maybe 1 play short of where we should have ended. So it's not as cut and dry for me as being just like that was just the worst thing I've ever seen. No, it was mismanaged by like 10 seconds or 15 seconds. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
Hey, Jim up here in Bayfield, Wisconsin.
Howdy.
Oh, man. I'm telling you. I don't know how Rich Bisaccia still has a job.
Yeah.
I know you defend him every time somebody brings this up, and I don't understand how you can. The dude is the special teams coach. He's responsible for how the special teams play. This is the second week in a row that special teams has lost a game for this team, and it happened all last year. It's happening this year. So either the dude does not know what the hell he is doing, or he is putting guys out there who don't know what the hell they are doing. Ultimately, he is responsible. He's got to go. Special teams has been horrid. And at some point, somebody has to take responsibility for that. It's either him or it's LaFleur or it's both of them. All right, that's my Bisaccia Ranch out of the way.
Well, I mean, I certainly am not defending him this year. Last year, I think it was massively overblown. I mean, I don't know that anyone can articulate what exactly was so bad about last year when we had maybe the best punter and kicker combo in the entire NFL. Our kicker had the best year of his entire career. And again, it's one of those things where it's like anytime something bad happens, he's horrible, he's terrible, he's all the... But all the good stuff nobody talks about. Well, don't worry about that. I'm worried about this. Okay, I guess. It's hard to get mad when you have a situation where your kicker is 31 of 31 on extra points and 21 of 23 on his field goals. I mean, the only real negative would have been the muffed punts, but, how much am I mad at a special teams coordinator because the guy that he has no hands? And again, that doesn't seem to be a problem this year. We got Matthew Golden doing it, and everything's fine. So does he get credit for that? No, of course he doesn't, because there's a new problem. So now he gets blamed for that. So I'm not blanket defending him, but I do think it's it just doesn't seem like a very serious thing that we do. We get mad at something when a thing happens and then blow it up to be like, this is how it always goes. How many field goals are blocked last year? But nobody cared, right? Nobody cared how good the operation was for the blocking. Nobody cared how good the operation was for snapping, holding, and kicking. Nobody cared how good the operation was for blocking, snapping, and punting. Bisaccia gets no credit for any of those things when they're working really well. But when Jaden Reed fumbles the ball, Bisaccia needs to be fired. Again, maybe he does. But I don't like the way we do this. You say I defend him all the time. I didn't like the hiring. I'm the one that when we hired him, I looked at it and said, he's never actually been that good of a special teams coordinator. Went through his whole resume and was like, whatever. So, yeah, I'm not a huge fan of Bisaccia. I don't know that he's really done a ton outside of being a fan favorite person. I'm not worried about losing him, that everything else goes to zero. But I do think it tends to be over the top, sky is falling type of stuff that I understand there's frustration because the Packers special teams is always bad. But, I mean, for the record, he went out and did the thing that everybody wanted, right? Every Packer fan said, you better go get Rich Bisaccia. If you don't, then you just don't care, and I'm done with this team. So they went and did it. And then Jaden Reed fumbles, and we got to fire him. And then he fixes that problem, but now there's a new problem, and so now he needs to be fired again. Yeah, fine, fire him. I don't really give a crap. But it's this with everything. We lose a game, suddenly Matt LaFleur goes from a genius to he's too conservative and he's holding back Jordan. It's the same old crap over and over again. Even though we'll go 10 games and win 10 games in a row and Matt LaFleur's a genius and nobody's being held back and nothing is conservative, and then we lose and these weird narratives just start popping up again. Special teams is elite. We got a great kicker. We got all these things. Everything's great. And then there's a block kick, and it's, this is every day with this special teams. It's every day. It's not every day. I haven't even heard about it in a year. That's the thing that drives me nuts the most. Everything is great. And then when something goes wrong, we just connect the dot between this time and like the time a year ago when it was a problem and draw a straight line and say, see, it's been this entire time. What? I mean, 2 weeks ago, we're talking about, this must be what it's like to finally have a special teams that you can trust. We got a kicker and a puncher and a returner. Everything is wonderful. And then suddenly I'm so sick of this. It's always terrible. It's always the worst. I mean, it's like people go into a coma when things are good, and then they wake up and they're like, it's still bad again. Nothing's changed. Rashawn Gary's the worst. He's terrible. He's awful. And then he goes on a tear. He's great. He's fantastic. He's all these things. And then he has a bad game, and it's like, this guy's been a waste of time ever since we got this guy. Jordan Love has a bad day. I just don't know, man. I've never really understood the Jordan Love. You know what I mean? It's so weird to me. And I shouldn't put my foot down on the Bisaccia thing because I'm in agreement on the Bisaccia thing. But there's just this general thing that just makes me insane where suddenly everybody just agrees that something that two minutes ago nobody thought, but now everybody knows that not only is it a problem, but it's been a problem this entire time. And then when we win, I don't know what you're talking about. I love everything. Everything's great. Pick a side. All right, just pick a side. So one good thing about negative fans, they don't change. They don't move. They just stay there. They're pissed all the time and everything sucks all the time. I'm starting to respect people that do that because it's just when things are good, they're still pissed and they still hate everybody. This constant swinging back and forth. Matt LaFleur's a genius. Matt LaFleur should be fired. Matt LaFleur's a genius. Matt LaFleur should be fired. Oh, my Lord. Special teams is great. Oh, man, everything's so good. Fire Bisaccia. The special teams is terrible and it's been that way forever. Okay, yeah, fire him. I don't give a damn, dude. Jeez. And he's not going to fix anything. Another special teams coach, it's going to be the same frickin' thing. But yeah, we'll see how it goes, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea.
Grant out of the way.
What?
Micah Parsons is not on his own going to get this team to the Super Bowl. We just gave up 40 points to a CD Lamb-less Cowboys offense. 40 points. Try and put that into perspective. It's insane how bad this defense was last night. That the defense that was supposed to be the best in the league, not 3 weeks ago.
1 week ago, right?
He is not going to get us to a Super Bowl simply by being on the team. And I think as fans, we have to understand this and come to that acceptance. Anyways, that's what I got. Thanks.
Yeah, and again, I don't want to get into the sky is falling because 3 weeks of dominance turned into one bad week, and suddenly this isn't good. You guys all thought this was good, and it's not good, and so now we got this serious. I don't know, man. Again, why do 3 weeks mean nothing and 1 week means everything? Why can't I trust the first 3 weeks, but I have to trust the last week? And I agree with your general premise that he's not going to win us that by himself because he can't. Nobody can. There's no person in the NFL that wins everything by themselves. That's not how football works. But there are certain pieces that can absolutely elevate your team on a massive level, and Micah Parsons is near the top of that list. I mean, the top of the list is almost all quarterbacks, but then as you get past quarterbacks, the next thing you see are pass rushers, and Micah Parsons is on that list. I wouldn't be surprised if he's top 10 overall. I don't know if it starts if there's 10 quarterbacks first, maybe he's top 20 then, whatever. I don't know. I don't want to do. It's a little unfair too because we're still doing Monday calls, so everybody's pissed off still on Monday. It's Friday. I'm well beyond it. I'm over it. But yeah, it just feels very doom and gloom, right? We have to accept it as fans. I don't have to accept anything. I don't know what's going to happen. You know what I mean? I mean, if all you're saying is you have to accept the fact that the sunshine and rainbows and everything's going to be perfect, well, yeah. I mean, we hopefully would have accepted that day one, but maybe some of us got a little out of control, and that was always going to be a thing. But no, I don't need to look at this game and say that's what really is reality, which doesn't even make sense because that was worse than without Parsons. That was just not something we've ever really seen from a Jeff Hafley defense. But yeah, I don't know. It's just we don't need to go down this dark alley of just, brace yourselves for just the worst thing. It's the other weird thing about negativity is it turns us into like we're going back to what we always are. And somehow it feels like we're saying two very different things at once. We thought we were going to have a special team. It turns out we're going back to the doldrums of what we've always been. And the picture is of like a 6-win team. And it's like, what we've always been is a pretty freaking good team. Right? I mean, we can whine about, they don't win the Super Bowl. Okay, but they're a playoff team every single year, right? They're a double-digit win team every single year. I'm not talking about you, Jim. There's this weird picture of like, it was all fake. And it was, we sound like we're Cleveland Browns fans where we had hope, or Bears fans. We had hope and we shouldn't have had hope. And now we're going back into the dumpster. There is no dumpster for Packer fans. It's even, what was it, Beer Cheese talking about, I don't even know if we're going to go to the playoffs, which we might not. I don't know what's going to happen. But again, there's nothing I'm looking at that's going, oh man, we're going to miss the playoffs. Why would this team miss the playoffs? Last year with no Micah Parsons and not a super good defense and a hurt Jordan Love, we still got to the playoffs pretty easily. I mean, it's a wild card team and all that, but we were good getting into the playoffs. That was not an issue. Why now are we just like, this is the worst. This is going to be terrible. I don't know. It just confuses me. You don't have to be happy about the game against Dallas or Cleveland, but I don't understand the rest of it. So yeah, I mean, we can fire Bisaccia if it's going to make everyone feel better. I doubt it's going to make any bit of a difference. I think a lot of the issues we have are the players that we have. Like I said, should he get the credit for the kicker and the punter? Well, no, because they're already good without him. Okay, then should we give him blame for the players that are not? Well, yes, because that's ridiculous. Either he's responsible for the good and the bad, or he has really no impact and he's not responsible for the good or the bad. But again, fine, fire him, get somebody else. It's going to be bad either way. Musgrave is not suddenly going to be like, oh, you want me to block like that? Oh, okay, I never knew that. Of course he knows that. He's been taught this a billion times. He just messed up because he's being stupid. I promise you Bisaccia has taught him how to block properly, and he just chose not to do it properly because that's been an issue for a long time, and everybody understands how to do that. That's why people on Twitter can look at it and go, oh, I remember that. You're not supposed to do that. I don't know. Whatever. I'm out of here. You all have a good rest of your day. I'll talk to you later. Have a good one. Bye-bye.